Plaintiff Elizabeth DiMercurio says she and the defendant are both single mothers, but she believes the defendant is negligent and irresponsible. Elizabeth claims the defendant's daughter was put on probation after assaulting Elizabeth's witness. And Elizabeth's suing because she claims her son got in a car accident with the defendant's daughter, who was driving an uninsured vehicle. Defendant Tamara Hill and her daughter Alexis admit that Alexis had a fight with Elizabeth's witness, but insists she's paid her restitution and completed her community service for that crime. Tamara can't believe she's being sued because Elizabeth's son caused the accident, not Alexis, and they're countersuing for auto payments.
All rise. This court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Greg Mathis presiding. You may now be seated.
Start with you.
I want to state that this case isn't simply about a car accident, that it's about the principle that's coming from that car accident. Tamara and I are both single mothers. I have 2 boys of my own that I do the best I can raising. I'm trying the best I can to teach them accountability, responsibility. Tamara has been irresponsible that the vehicle she was driving didn't have insurance. But I want to state that not only was it irresponsible, that she condoned the irresponsibility. And not only in this instance, but in other instances that I've found out and gathered from this case.
What have you found out?
There was an ongoing problem between one of my witnesses who happened to be in the vehicle and Alexis a couple of years back, an incident that happened at school. Alexis assaulted Rebecca. And at that point, the mother, again, did not step up, did not take any responsibility for her daughter.
How do you know?
I come to find out a couple of years ago, apparently Alexis jumped Rebecca at school.
I heard that part, but what did you come to know regarding the mother's irresponsibility?
The mother didn't take responsibility for her daughter.
How do you know?
She passed it on to her father.
How do you know?
Because Rebecca's mother told me that all of the damages that Rebecca suffered, which was fractures to her face and other items, the father had to step up to the plate and take responsibility for his daughter.
That is not true, Your Honor.
The father became involved in the incident and took care of all bills and problems from that.
There's nothing wrong with that. At least a parent intervened. What else?
When the accident occurred, my son called me up on the phone, of course, extremely distraught. He had been in
This is the accident you're suing about?
Yes.
What did occur? Your son called you and said what?
He called me up and said that he was in an accident. I drove to the scene. It was just a few blocks from our house. Alexis was there on the site and she was out of her vehicle. She immediately asked me, please don't call the cops. We don't have insurance. I've called my mother. My mother is on her way. And I told her, I said, listen, hon, trying to calm her down a little bit. Even if I call the cops, it's not going to be that big of an, you're going to get a ticket for no insurance. You know, I said, it's not like you don't have a warrant or anything out for you. She, at that point, told me that she was on probation and because of her fight with Alexis. I had no idea who this girl was.
And then what?
Well, what happened is her mother showed up to the site and her mother again restated that she did not have insurance. Please don't call the cops. And I told her, I said, well, I'm sorry. We have insurance. We're doing this the right way. My son just got his driver's license a few months before.
Let me hear your backstory.
Okay,
she says that you are a negligent mom, irresponsible towards your
Going back to the fight with Rebecca, Alexis was living with her dad and stepmother, and she was put on probation. She is no longer on probation, was not on probation at the time of the accident. Okay. You know,
Did you want to tell me anything about the fight before we move on?
Okay, I did my time. I did community service. I paid all of her bills. I paid all of her bills. Not my parents. They made me do it. I had to get a job. I had to pay for her doctor bills. I had to pay for new glasses for her. That was 2 years ago.
That sounds responsible
And now
to me.
she lives with me because the problems that she was having at her dad's house and stepmother. So I feel I did step up as a mother. I'm not irresponsible.
Tell me about the scene of the accident.
I admit I did not have insurance. You know, that was wrong. She was coming home from one of her 3 jobs she has. Left turn lane to turn into the house. I mean, she was home. And she got hit from behind. She got rear-ended. I have a police report showing that it was his fault.
That is true.
And the police say it's his fault?
He got a citation.
Hold on.
Yep.
You spent all of your testimony talking about how you have trained your sons to be so responsible and your son is the cause of it.
I don't disagree that my son hit her. That is not the point of
What is the point?
It was Tamara's car. Tamara knew there wasn't insurance.
That's
on that
irrelevant.
vehicle, and she let her daughter
She didn't
drive
hit you.
Anyway.
It wasn't her fault. So whether she had insurance is irrelevant. Your son ran into the back. None of this would happen if your son had not been negligent.
And I believe with 100% accuracy that had she not been on the road illegally, my son would never have hit her.
How? If she'd have had insurance, it wouldn't have happened.
No, I'm not saying that. If
So if she was on the road legally, it still would have happened.
Then yes, possibly it would have happened.
No, possibly it happened.
Right.
So
But
if she had
wasn't
insurance,
on
it
the road
still would have
legally.
happened. Go ahead.
So
What else
after
happened?
the accident, she was there. I was on my way. I'm gonna let her
Let me
tell
hear
you.
from you. Go
Okay.
ahead.
So he hit me from behind and we pulled into the driveway right across the street from my house. So I get out of the car, I go check out my car. They get out of the car. Well, there's 3 guys in the car. They walk to a bush and throw something in the bush. I don't know what it is that they throw in that bush, but they threw something in that bush.
I'm sure it was a book or something. They're very
Yeah.
responsible. Very responsible. The Bible? Yeah. All right, yeah. Very responsible.
Well,
Go
I see
ahead.
Rebecca get out of the car. The last person I would know ever to come and just give me a hug. She came up to me and hugged me.
She beat her up 2 years ago. Why would she come up and hug her?
Yeah, like it was weird. Like it was a weird coincidence that she happened to be in the car. Well, his mom showed up. My mom showed up. Then we talked about it, and then we called the cops.
I called the cops.
Yeah,
From
and-
my phone.
Go ahead.
Don't call the cops, but I
ahead.
called them.
Yep, and they came about maybe hour, 2 hours later. I told the cops everything. I told them about maybe they were smoking weed. I don't know what they were doing. He was like, well, I didn't smell it on them. Well, you took 2 hours to get here. Of course it's not going to be on them. And they did not open the car, their car.
The police actually did go after everybody left, go across the street. I even have pictures of where these bushes are. The pictures of the car, the
But was
bushes, and
anything
in front of
found
the
in
house.
the bushes?
We don't know.
Well, you
But they
casting
were over there
aspersions
for
on this very responsible young man.
right. They
And
were
you don't
over there
have
for
any
about
evidence
45 minutes.
Other than this car, which is very damaged.
There's $4,000 worth of damage to the car.
Wow. All right. You want to speak, young man?
Sure. Your Honor.
All right. State your name.
My name is Nathan DiMacario.
What do you want to tell me?
I admit for the accident. I did pay for the ticket. I took all the responsibilities. And
Oh, good.
I don't know why they say that I threw something into the bushes, because obviously the police went over there and looked and they did not
Right.
find anything. He came up to me and looked at me. Obviously, I wasn't smoking weed or drugs or anything, because I could talk to them perfectly fine.
Some of the kids in the car are known for
Let me just
smoking.
ask you, ma'am. Your counterclaim is for $2,000 for auto payments. Are you suing them for the damage that was
Pay the
done?
car off. It's $4,000.
You
worth of
haven't been
damage.
paid?
No.
Well, I'm confused. He took responsibility for
For
it.
paying the
For
ticket.
getting my ticket.
Right.
He's not paying our car off.
The ticket.
I thought you said you
Wait,
took
that's
all
what we
the
want.
responsibility. Oh, why didn't you pay him?
What?
They never
Why do I have to pay
asked
them?
us for money until I filed a small claim suit on her. That's the first
that
I had
true?
heard that was counter.
Absolutely.
she had
Yes, it
countersued.
is true.
Why did you wait?
I didn't think I was able to do that.
And my father reported it totaled. He said, it's totaled. There's nothing you can do. So I bought a brand new truck.
If someone is negligent and their negligence results in damages to you,
Right.
then you're entitled to relief from those damages from
Okay.
the person who was negligent.
Okay.
And there's a presumption of negligence when you hit someone in the back. Your son was negligent, ma'am. He hit her in the back. So
I
how can
agree
you-
that the accident happened. Like I said, that wasn't the point. I did not know that whether or not they had insurance. That didn't matter because in Michigan, it's
We
the law
came
that you
right
have
out and
insurance.
said we didn't
Therefore,
have
I
it.
thought they were on the road illegally, in my opinion, and that's why this lawsuit was brought. But they make it sound like they're completely in the
not
middle of
Let me
this
give you an
accident.
example, ma'am. Let me give you an example. Maybe I can make better sense of this. If someone is jaywalking, the light is green where the car should go. However, the car was a half a mile away when the person began jaywalking. Person is doing something illegal. However, the car had the opportunity to see and to stop. And that car was negligent because the car had a chance to stop. Perhaps there can be contributory negligence because the person walked out into the street and helped cause it That's contributory negligence. But in this case, she did nothing to help cause it. So negligence is based on cause. And that's what has happened here. His negligence in not stopping in a timely manner, and he was ticketed, caused damage to their car, and therefore he's responsible. With regard to your counterclaim, $2,039, this is what you're seeking for the value of the damage that was committed by the negligent driver.
It's actually the payoff. The damages are about $4,000.
Okay, so you just want enough to pay it off.
Correct.
Ma'am, did you know where he was going?
He was bringing Rebecca home.
How often do you allow him to use the car?
A couple times a week is probably what he was driving at the time.
Ma'am, I'm going to dismiss your case. They don't pay you for your vehicle when your son was negligent. Secondly, I'll grant your judgment because your damages were a result of his negligence. And you can obtain a judgment from him, but you can't collect until he's 18. You can't recover monies from a child who is sued until they become an adult. And the legal theory behind that is that most children don't have money.
Right.
And they shouldn't be burdened until they're 18
right.
with legal money issues. It's like you can sue a 7-year-old. And
right.
when the judgment,
you're gonna get paid in Cheerios.
Yeah, how are you gonna collect from a 7-year-old? So you have to wait until that 7-year-old turns 18.
Right.
Because you can't sue a parent for everything
right.
that a minor does, because I don't believe that a parent can watch every single thing that a child does, and when a child steps beyond their permissible actions,
right.
that the parent, even though she's done all she can, is liable. For example, I use this all the time. If a child is a troubled kid, the mother goes and gets him counseling. She makes sure he does his homework. She talks with the teachers. She disciplines him. And then one night he sneaks out and breaks somebody's window. I don't think the parent should be responsible for that. If the parent was negligent in supervising the child, and that's the legal theory I operate under, is negligent supervision, meaning that the parent either in the past or in that instance has demonstrated that they are failing to supervise that child, then I would hold the parent liable. In this case, I don't find that. That's why I ask, how often does she let him use the car? Does she know where he was going? So it sounds like she wasn't negligent in supervising him. Sounds like he was the only one negligent here. I'm going to grant you a judgment against him. $2,039 is your judgment for the damage and the negligence done to your car. Your claim is dismissed, ma'am. They didn't do anything to you. Your son was negligent. Judgment for the defendant.